We've talked the future, we've talked coaches, we've talked quarterbacks. Now it's time to get into the draft. And this year's NFL draft seems like it's going to be framing up a lot of teams as everyone sort of got exposed at who's good and who's not, based off who has the structure. So coming into this year, all reports and all sayings are saying that we're going to see that Trevor Lawrence will be going and hanging out with Urban Meyer in Jacksonville to be in Jacksonville Jaguar. The next teams down in the draft board are the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Falcons. So out of those three teams, what position do you think that one of those three teams should draft? And if you have it, who do you have them taking with their first round pick?
So I've waited all night to give you some hot takes, but I now have two. My first one being that because Urban Meyer is going to be the new coach for the Jags, he's going to shake things up and take the boy from Ohio State, Justin Fields, first in the draft. I think that he leans on his Ohio State roots. He knows the system there. Justin now knows the system there. Their communication would be excellent if he went to be the next quarterback for the Jags. So that's my first hot take, is that Trevor Lawrence may not be the first quarterback taken in the draft this year. It may be Justin Fields. And my next hot take, and I've been saying this for years, so I know this is going to come to no surprise to you, Rutledge, but I think that the Falcons draft a quarterback. They are number 4 on the board. Miami, if everything goes kind of the way that Connor and I project and they end up with Deshaun Watson, they're not going to need a quarterback. And that leaves the third best quarterback on the board, Zach Wilson, to go to the Falcons. Matt Ryan is not going to get it done in Atlanta. He's got concrete blocks for feet. And I think a lot of people have kind of caught on to the fact that he had that really good season when he won the MVP. They went to the Super Bowl, whatever. He has not shown up the way that I think Falcon fans would like ever since that season. And I think Atlanta, they have a new GM, they have a new head coach who I think is a really good fit, Arthur Smith. I think that's a fantastic fit for Atlanta. And I think he decides that it's time to move on. Now, Matt Ryan's in the middle of a really expensive contract right now, so I'm not saying that they draft someone and they immediately start him, but I think that they realize that it's time to draft the next guy. And I think that's Zach Wilson from BYU. I love him. He's phenomenal. And I just don't think Matt Ryan's the guy that's ever going to get it done in Atlanta. So those are my two hot takes on the draft.
Those are some hot draft takes. We're shaking up even Mel Kiper's big board with Emily's takes going this evening. So those are some big picks coming through. Luke, follow that.
I was quite amazed that you were saying that Justin Fields will go number 1 to the Jacksonville Jaguars since Fields and Urban Meyer work together. And keep in mind, I'm not switching my hats this time. This is my unbiased take on what's going to happen for the draft. I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are going to go with Trevor Lawrence since he's a once-in-a-century lifetime quarterback that Urban Meyer can mold him to be that offensive gunslinger in today's National Football League. I wanted to talk about, though, on where Justin Fields will land. He won't land with the Jets, since I think that Sam Darnold would stay there. I don't think he will go to the Dolphins, which I believe that Tua Tagovailoa will get one more crack at it with the Dolphins this season. I think that Justin Fields is going to go number 4 with the Atlanta Falcons. It's back home in Georgia, back in his home state, what was from there, from high school, played at Georgia before he transferred to Ohio State, and potentially replacing a quarterback in Matt Ryan, who's 35 years old. He's a pro-style quarterback. Like you mentioned, concrete feet. I can imagine him just standing there in the pocket and not having the agility like today's league is. And he just throws deep balls, and that's not what today's game is about. We have the new GM, general manager in Terry Fontenot, new head coach in Arthur Smith, who is the former Titans offense coordinator, which their head coach was Mike Vrabel from Ohio State, and still having that connection between Justin Fields. And also Justin Fields would have weapons such as Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Hayden Hurst, and even Laquan Treadwell. When I looked at name up in the roster, he had a dominating performance with the Minnesota Vikings for 2 seasons, and he kind of fell flat-footed in a way. This could be a resurrection for Laquan Treadwell to get things going for him and the Atlanta Falcons. So my take is Atlanta Falcons will draft Justin Fields, as Justin Fields will have a homecoming at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in downtown Atlanta.
Big takes. And kudos to Luke on the roster looking. And that is true. Atlanta does have tons of weapons that apparently concrete Matty Ice, not made of ice, but concrete Matt Ryan is not able to utilize. Connor, what did your draft look like? We've got a lot of QB talk. What do you have?
You know, here's what I think is going to happen, right? I think in terms of New York Jets, I think they got their new head coach, and I think that Sam Darnold cannot play the young guy card forever. I think that the Jets are going to pick the next quarterback off the board, and I think that is going to be Justin Fields to give Sam Darnold that pressure and really make it interesting in New York. I think for the Dolphins, I think that Devontae Smith is going to pick up where he left off from the national championship game, in which he made the Ohio State Buckeyes look like a JV team throughout the course of that game. And he's going to be one more weapon down in Miami for Tua or whichever quarterback that might be, although that could be pretty fun for Tua and Devontae Smith to get back together. Leaving the Falcons, maybe Falcons go Trey Lance. I think that if they don't love, here's what I think they should do. If they don't love their quarterback there, I think that you could go defensive playmaker. Whichever one is going to be at the top of the top of your draft board. You don't know what's going to happen with Drew Brees in the NFC South. You don't know, there's so many question marks at the quarterback position. If Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, is he going to sail off into the sunset? We don't know that. So I think that, the Falcons could be, with Matt Ryan, at least the most stable quarterback position, which could be at a premium next year if some of these teams have a variety of turnover at that position.